Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today we're going to talk about Captain America issues 346 and 347. So during this period, we are not dealing with the Steve Rogers Captain America. Here we have John Walker carrying the mantle and just spiraling out of control. The group called the Watchdogs had kidnapped his parents when his identity was outed to the public. And John Walker tried to rescue them, but things just went terribly wrong. It actually ended with the death of John Walker's parents, and Walker just totally flipped out and he killed 8 or 9 members of the Watchdogs. It's probably one of the most violent Captain America issues ever. So now we start the issue with John Walker in pretty much a catatonic state, sitting in the jail cell. The liaison to Superhuman Affairs and Battlestar arrived to the place to do all the paperwork to get John Walker out of police custody. And what happens is we have the whole debate if John Walker can still be Captain America. So what happens is we have John Walker, who is a very broken person and on a one-man vengeance trip at the moment. They tell him that he has to go on this mission, work with Freedom Force. They have to take down a group of rebel mutants called the Resistance, which John Walker Cap has dealt with. And what happens is the Resistance get wind that the government is going to put Quicksilver on trial by Freedom Force to get them out in the open. And the thing is that when the Resistance are arriving to the place, Mental realizes it's a trap. So what happens is the Resistance, using their powers, they almost kill Freedom Force in one foul swoop. So the backup would be John Walker, Captain America. He gets to jump on the Resistance. And what happens next is just incredibly brutal. He starts beating the crap out of each member of the team. John Walker is completely unhinged. The guy just vents out all this pent-up rage within him. And we get to the point where Walker starts killing some of the members of the Resistance. You even start feeling bad for them, especially for Peepers. Like, the way Peepers gets killed is horrible. So what happens is the mission's done. They were able to capture some of the members of the Resistance, the ones that were not killed. Battlestar, who was undercover, stops John Walker and tells him, look, Battlestar, who was undercover, actually has to stop John Walker and tells him, look, the mission's over, calm down. And John actually drops one of the most impactful lines I've ever read in a comic book in a long time, where he says, I had to do this mission even though my parents' funeral was today. And you just see John Walker totally out of it. Like, he's not in a good place. You literally get to see that vengeance is more important than to pay his last respects to his parents, even though it's sort of his fault that his parents were killed in the first place. So what happens in the next issue is that we have John Walker actually paying a visit to family members of Right Wing and Left Wing, the guys that outed John Walker's identity to the world, which led to the death of his parents. And he's going around telling these family members, look, the next time you see your sons, your daughters, your brothers, they're going to be dead. So John Walker virtually is in full psycho mode right now. Also, we have a very brief moment in this story where we get to see the second Red Skull, who was the communist Red Skull, liberated from prison. He had been captured by Hawkeye in the Avengers Solo series. The thing is that he's liberated from prison and puts on his Red Skull mask, and then he's executed out of nowhere. So now back to John Walker. He ends up having his confrontation with Right Wing and Left Wing. And these guys used to be really good friends of his, so the whole confrontation is very visceral. But the thing is that John Walker in this crazy state is like a unstoppable force. He's able to take both of them down. And basically, he ends up executing them, and it's so freaking over the top. You see those panels, and it's like, holy crap, he went overboard. So we're going to leave this video here. I hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.